Hi there, this is this was the green Xmaxx that I did a few weeks ago. I did a video on. Had a few changes to say the least since I last made the video, and I'll tell you as much as I can. Obviously from the outside you can see I've now got the Prolines on there, painted the wheels as you can see around there, but I've also dyed the beadlocks black and put in the stainless steel screw kit. The screws are M3 by 20s, and you're going to need about 160 of them. 20 per side, 20 there, 20 on the inside. So it's about 160 you're going to need. Additionally, I've also rip dyed as much as I can black. Maybe not as quite as easy to see with the body shell on. But let me just take the body shell off a second and I'll show you the goodies underneath. So, as you can see, I've rip dyed the shock towers, I've rip dyed the bulkheads black, I've rip dyed the battery retainer, I've rip dyed the sort of chassis brace, and the front bulkheads and the front chassis shock mounts as well. This all came about when I decided to try and lower the centre of gravity for the Max 5 here. Now I've got the new Leopard motor. That's the new one from Leopard. That's the V2. I think it's the 5113 V2, which I think off the top of my head is about 1250 kilovolts. It's Leopard's latest motor, only just come out, and replaced the 1340. Which Leopard quite clearly told me is 6S only, and those of you running 8S, like I did for a short period of time, will eventually burn out that motor very, very, very quickly. So they've replaced it with this one here, the 5113 V2, just out, that arrived the other day. Slightly bigger, I think, than the old one, not by much, by a mil or two, but then we've also got here I think it's a Poseidon motor mount, which is a lot thicker than the Kershaw one that I got, a lot thicker. That in itself, because it's thicker, brings the motor back that way a little bit, which means you don't get much room here to mount the Max 5. So through trial and error, I took out the Max 5, hacked away at the chassis like I did in one of my first videos, and if I can just show you the original chassis here. This was the chassis, and you can see I cut out all this, still wouldn't fit, had to then cut out all this bit here. Managed to get it to fit, but then completely forgot that the servo comes in here from the other side. Servo goes in there, and the servo would stick out here. So I achieved absolutely nothing with this here. So in the end, for the sake of £20, 20 quid, I bought a new chassis, and as you can see the difference in colour between them, the grey and the black. I don't know if it's easy to see in this light or not. Yeah, I think the black rip dye has just finished it off. So what I've done this time round is I went back to my original setup of reinstalling the Max 5, but just had a bit of foam padding in underneath there, and then had it at a slight angle, just resting on the wire where the wires come out of the receiver. It slightly touches the motor, but not too concerned about that because it's not going to get too hot, to say the least, because of the cooling. I tried to put on a Castle 2028 dual motor fan onto this motor here, but it's way too big. It won't fit on there at all, which is surprising. I think the last one that fitted on here was a Dynamite dual fan, but you can't get them for love or money now. I think the companies doesn't make them anymore, or anyway, you can't get them. I think I found one in China, and I was very difficult to order that. Put on there my, just arrived this morning, actually from China, a 30 tooth pinion. These pinions, cheap as chips, £2.50, posted and delivered from China. And that's the 30 tooth. Also got my GDM 50 tooth spur on there. So I should be looking at around about 50 to 60 miles an hour from this. Got telemetry on this as well, I don't know if you can see. I've got the expander module here, and that wire there goes into the receiver box. And then I've also got the voltage wrapped around here to give me my lipo voltage, and that then plugs into the receiver there. On top of that, I've also got might be very difficult to see, I've got it on the bottom of this, but I've got a temperature sensor strapped to the bottom of that. So I've got speed, voltage and temperature. RPM was very difficult to do, especially with the bigger spurs and pinions, and also with this motor mount here, because you have to cut out a bit of the chassis to get this motor mount mounted. And so far, that is it. So I've repositioned the Max 5. I've got the 5113 version 2 Leopard in there, 30 tooth pinion hardened steel, 50 tooth I think it's GDM spur, Rit dyed as many component parts as I possibly can. Oh, even just down to these little things back here. That there was green before. Likewise with the steering bit here was green before as well. So again, just Rit dyeing them black just sort of blends it all in nicely and sort of gives it a nice finish to it. And then the subtlety of the green and the white, and I've also put on stainless steel screws all throughout the vehicle as well. So every screw was replaced with stainless steel. So you can see in the bottom here, and it's all nicely tidy in black. CV boots, we'll put some CV boots on it as well. Got hold of those from a buddy of mine. They weren't too expensive, £12, £3 a corner. So again, quite cheap and a nice little finish to it, to prevent a lot of the rubbish getting inside those rear diffs. So yeah, watch it, tell me what you think. If you have any ideas or suggestions or any cunning plans on how to make it even better, please let me know. I'm happy to try anything on my days off. But yeah, for now, that's my green Xmaxx 8S Beast with Rit dyed black, running all those component parts.